quiet seaside town, an evil laid to rest centuries ago, has risen. An abandoned fortress deep in the swamp holds a secret that could save the village or destroy it. Now, a band of adventurers sets out to dig up the wounds of the past and bring the light of day to the roots of ruin. This is Tabletop Gold.
Friends, and welcome to Tabletop Gold episode 55.
Woo! Oh my.
Yes. Whoa. Multiples of 11 fans out there, you are going to be like pigs in 11 troughs of various substances. My name is Lars Casteen.
Wouldn't it be 5 troughs?
It would be 5. You're absolutely right. Zoe Chernicoff, you are 100% right.
Fans of 5, though, you get 11 troughs.
You get 11.
Yeah.
Fans of there's something here for 2 different very specific weird people in this episode of this show.
Fans of 3, you're screwed.
Yes, fans of 3, better luck next time. Is next time a multiple of 3? Let's think about it.
No.
We'll better luck eventually. At least in 2. Okay, anyway, David the Tin Man Chernicoff is here.
Feels like this is all about prime factorization. That's where we're headed here. We've got some 11 people, we've got some 5 people, we've got some 3 people. It's all coming together, but not all at the same time.
No, it can't.
Yeah. Talk about Pathfinder. Am I right?
Oh. You said it, Armat Humphreys.
Hello.
Pathfinder, indeed. Do you find this game particularly mathy, Armat? Real quick, one-word answer, please.
Not particularly.
No, not
That's
really.
That's a 2-word answer. I fucked it up. Oh,
I'm
God.
with you.
Yeah.
Robin Lange is here.
Yeah, I feel like it would be if I didn't have Foundry to do all the math for me.
I agree. I have become incredibly dependent on Foundry to do like +1s and -2s and shit like that.
I feel like my first 6 months of playing tabletop role-playing games, having to do all the math kind of imploded my head a little bit. And then when I discovered all of the different digital tools to be able to do the math for me, I started having a lot more fun.
Having never played the game without them, I feel like it's like, I don't know, like kids who learn math, who only learn math after there was graphing calculators, and they're like, why wouldn't you just have the calculator do it? And at first you're like, because, and then you realize, no, that's actually a pretty decent point.
Are graphing calculators still a thing?
Oh, yeah.
I believe so,
You
yeah.
can't get through high school math without a TI-86. Texas Instruments owns the game.
Not a goddamn app for that now?
Yeah, you would think there would just be an app.
Oh, there is an app for that as well. Desmos. That's one of the many websites for it. But you can't use the app for that when you sit down and take the SATs and the different
sure, they don't want you to
APs.
have the smartphone, of course.
No, again, Texas Instruments literally owns the game. They
Our
have the
potential
contracts
future
with the testing
sponsor,
center.
Texas Instruments.
I would totally get in bed with Texas Instruments. Let's do it.
Tons of money there. Yes.
The most important question that I really need an answer to is, do kids still play Drug Wars on those TI-86s?
That's a great question.
Because inquiring minds need to know.
I have to bet yes. I think Drug Wars is like a timeless bit of like digital folk culture. Like there's nothing about that game that makes it unsuitable for any audience. Just buying low, selling high.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, let's get into it.
I never
Oh my God.
learned
Go.
how to get this game on my TI-87 or whatever it was.
The original RPG.
Kind of. Yeah.
Was it text-based, I assumed?
Yes.
I assume current tense.
Was there
present
any
tense?
other kind of game then?
2002, there were a couple other games. Yeah.
God damn it. Look window.
One of the appeals of Drug War for being on graphing calculators is that it is incredibly easy just to program it yourself.
Fair.
It is not a game. It is not a game. It's not a concept that requires much professional insight. So I definitely knew people in high school who had homebrewed their own drug war program.
I mean, I programmed actual just functions, so I didn't have to memorize anything into my calculator.
That's a dirty deed. But drug war, speaking of dirty deeds, the way that drug war works is that essentially you just get a list of drugs and a list of prices. It'll be like meth, $5, cocaine, $100, whatever.
Sale on meth, am I right?
Yeah. Yeah, buy, you gotta buy. But there's a range of possible prices like randomly generated for each of those. So if you know the range and you can recognize, oh, meth is very cheap right now, then you can buy lots of meth on that like tick of the game, and then it refreshes and the prices refresh from there. So the goal of the game is to start with $10 and then become like a billionaire as you like grow your money from nothing to Scarface.
And as I recall, the available substances, you were a dealer of any and all of these. Like you had money, you bought a bunch of something, and you waited for it to go up, and then you sold it all, and you had more money, and you could keep plowing it into different whatever.
You could homebrew this into Pokemon if you wanted.
Yes, that would be fine, but not as cool.
Wouldn't feel quite as thrilling sitting at your school desk doing that.
Yeah. The theming of it being illicit helped with the illicit cheatingness of doing it in your AP chemistry class. But it seems to me that the drugs it was like weed, cocaine.
Sounds right.
I remember that one of them was lewds.
Yeah, I think you're right. I remember seeing lewds in drug war.
1978?
Not quaaludes, but lewds.
Well, you got to save characters.
I remember being so confused by that as a teenager. I had no idea.
All it was to me was the word lewds.
I don't really know what lewds are now.
Well, they're,
They make you feel
Painkillers. Sedatives.
I'm actually looking at the Wikipedia article about drug wars right now, and apparently one other thing that I had forgotten about was that the police occasionally show up. So that's like part of the thing, and you have choices about like running, fighting, or apparently is the police officer is called Officer Hardass, which is kind of funny.
Oh.
I don't know that the graphing calculator version of it that I played had that amount of sophistication.
Well, it sounds like your friends were like making their own goofy off-label versions.
Yeah.
So.
My friends were making bathtub drug wars. I was getting blinded by my TI-83.
Toilet drug wars.
What were the other drugs, though? Weed, cocaine, and lewds, but there was 3 others.
Coke, heroin, acid, weed, speed, and lewds is what the Wikipedia says.
Weed, speed, and lewds.
Weed, speed, and lewds.
I feel like there's a whole New Yorker article on like the fact that TIA, like Texas Instrument, has lasted, if this game is still out, like it has defied any reasonable expectations for technology if they still have any hold on the market. That's nuts.
Completely agree.
I think it helps that it's not a smart device because it limits the range of what it can do to things that theoretically are like exam reasonable.
In the Wikipedia page for Drug Wars, they mentioned that in 1998, which was like right when I was in high school. So I guess maybe my friends did not homebrew. Maybe I just thought that they had. That's when the flood of TI-82, TI-83, and TI-83 plus versions of Drug Wars flooded the high school market.
Thank you for finally saying which number TI it was that we all had. It was that TI-82, TI-83.
Yeah, I remember fancy kids had TI-85s and I had a TI-82.
I was an 86 boy.
I didn't even know what that was.
86. I had an 83. I had to
You had
finally
to
look it up
sell
to be sure.
A lot of weed, speed, and lewds to get one.
Oh, you gotta.
I found an article from 2019 on thehustle.co, which predicted that the era of the graphing calculator was drawing to a close. But I think we can agree that's fictitious, that they were trying to predict what should be the obvious conclusion of the Texas Instrument graphing calculator. But continuing my theory that it has defied any reasonable expectation, I don't think the hustle.co was onto something. That's thehustle.co/graphing-calculators-expensive for anyone looking to read along.
Of course, the hustle is worried about the bottom line when it comes to this question.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we move on, folks, from this discussion of illicit games of yore and play an illicit game of now?
Ooh. Some magic mushrooms?
Yes! Let's talk about mushrooms, guys. I got a real good deal on a couple of mushrooms that are going to kill you. So.
I might be interested if someone can tell me definitively whether or not they improve the taste of the flesh. Like it needs to, there can't be any disagreement.
Well, that's going to be quite a check, I think. Instead of fighting, David spends 3 actions every round. just
doing another taste test.
Another taste test. Before we get to the game, I want to take a moment to thank everybody who has left a review of Tabletop Gold at their podcast app of choice. Like, for instance, Sorcerius, who left a review on Podcast Addict. They say, I binged the first 30 episodes and now listen the day they came out. Only complaint is that they don't record 2 times a week. Come on, guys, you don't need a real life.
That's kind of sweet. That's kind of sweet.
It is kind of sweet. I do deeply appreciate it. Every review that gets left for us helps us out in a tangible way. So thank you very much for that.
And intangible ways.
Yeah. Tangible and intangible. It makes me happy and it makes our show more popular.
Also, joke's on you, because I don't have a real life.
Oh, snap! Aww.
Okay, we got to get into the game.
Let's move on.
we got to get our meta life.
Yeah. God, yes.
With the ghoulish cult of the canker brought to its knees, you have been able to investigate the portion of Gauntlet's library they once inhabited without much interruption. You've found areas for worship, eating, and carrying out abhorrent flesh rituals, which you've been able to explore in relative safety. But in a remote corner of the ghouls' former territory, you've gotten into some trouble. The 4 of you and your Morlock ghoul companion Augriel are trapped, penned into a tiny hallway by a pair of virulent funguses whipping their long tendrils wildly back and forth.
Maybe they're spores? Is it their spores that they're whipping?
I whip my spores back and forth. I whip my spores back and forth.
Probably we're on a mind meld tonight.
I'm here for it.
There's something I want to say before we get into it. At the end of the episode last week, David, you had Mag do a swamp lore check about these funguses. I told you their names. I didn't really give you any more information about them, which I should have, given the kind of success that you got. So, as Mag is looking out of this short hallway and seeing this room with these 2 funguses, tendrils flying all over the place, blocking your exit, the argument that you heard earlier about exposing the flesh to the fungus or not is now making some more sense to you. The main thing that you know about this violet fungus from your time exploring the swamps is that you have seen remains of creatures killed by this fungus, and you know that exposure to their poisonous spores has left them with violet sores all over their body. This gets into their skin and changes it somehow.
Like in a good way.
Well, that's the debate.
Right. People don't know.
That's really the question.
I will say mushrooms do usually make a steak taste better, in my opinion.
Yeah, fair.
That's so disgusting. Okay.
Mushrooms are delicious. Get over it.
We're going to roll initiative in just a second, but there's something I want to say. You are all occupying a super tight space. So I'm going to rule that before you can do anything on your turn, you either need to move into an unoccupied space or start your turn as the only person in your space, i.e. if your turn has started after everyone else has already left. It's going to be too tightly cramped for you to be able to pull off anything from where you are, given how tightly packed you are, right?
Let's do this thing.
Okay, roll for initiative. Yeah.
Roll for initiative.
Roll for initiative.
Gosh, these things look like morels with vines on them. They're great.
They do. They're great.
Sure, that's a
Robin,
word.
what did you roll for Trill's initiative?
I rolled a 24 for Trill.
Wow, way to go. Nice and quick.
I'm
How
okay
about
with it.
Mag? David, what did you roll for Mag?
Just a 17 for Mag.
Which I think at this point is pretty middle of the road.
Yeah, that's not amazing.
Yeah, Zoe, what did you roll for Norman?
I have boosted my stealth up so high that I rolled a 16.
Very good.
So glad that I've boosted it.
And Vadim, Armet, what did you roll for Vadim?
He also got a 16. Evidently, the tight quarters not doing great things.
Yes. Well, this all means that Trill is going first before either of these two funguses. Just to set the scene, you are in this 10-foot hallway, a short few feet from these morel mushrooms, these giant violet mushrooms with these whipping vines. This room with the mushrooms is incredibly tiny. As you're looking into it, you see that these vines extend into every space all around this room, and that they may even be able to extend into the hallway where you are currently hiding.
Ugh. Well, Trill recognizes that she's got to move to be able to do anything because we're all just too cramped. So Trill's first action is going to be to move through the room that these nasty purple tentacle-y morels are throwing their tentacle viney things around. And she actually, oh God, I don't know if she wants to do that. Oh God, she's stuck between a horrific place and a disgusting place. Oh God. So can I say that Trill got to the door? Can I say that Trill got to the door and stopped herself? Because Trill is running through this room with the mushrooms. She gets to the door thinking, okay, I'll go through the door and I'll be on the other side of the door so I'm not right next to them. And she looks through the door and then sees the rotting, fetid remains of a gibbering mouther stinking up this other room.
That's right. Where the mushrooms are is right between this tiny hallway where you cannot stand and this room with this decaying, gibbering mouther. The smell, if you were to go in there, hits you like a freight train.
So Trill gets to the door, goes, and stops herself. And that's as far as she can go without vomiting. She turns around, says, okay, let's see what we can do. And with her last focus point, does a performance check to do lingering composition. And that's an average performance check of 18.
Sadly, a just below average check. That's a failure. No focus point burnt, and this lingering composition only lasts for one round. Presumably, being so close to this fungus has thrown off Trill's performance somewhat.
Only one round of Inspire Courage for everyone. I'm so sorry.
Hey, that's one more round than we would have had otherwise. So thank you, Trill.
I mean, it kind of makes sense. It's pretty hard to inspire anyone in this putrid, horrible situation.
So that's two actions. Move and Inspire Courage.
I don't like this one that much.
Sorry, guys. So I would love to then do a recall knowledge check about to try and figure out what their weaknesses are.
Sure. Give me a blind occultism or No, sorry. Give me a blind nature check is what I mean.
You know, are you sure it's not occultism?
So Trill, looking at this mushroom, nature not her strong suit. She doesn't have a great sense of what this fungus is weak to.
Okay, I tried. It's best I can do. Okay, guys, let's see what we can do.
The fungus right next to Trill is going to start attacking. The only person in its reach is Trill, so it is going to attack Trill thrice.
Makes sense. It's going to be fun.
Here we go. These tendrils are just flying around randomly. No sense of intelligence or purpose at all. So one tendril flies by her and misses with a 15. Yep. Another one scoops on above her, critically misses with a 9.
That is a critical miss.
And then the third one critically misses again with a 7. So Trill is able to duck and weave as these tendrils fly blindly and wildly out to the motion, sensing the motion of Trill as she stops in front of them.
I may be wanting to vomit, but at least I can still move fast.
That was fortunate.
The fungus in the southeastern corner of the room is in reach of Trill, Ogriel, Norman, and Mag. I'm going to roll a d4 indicating target in that order. Ogriel, I believe, was the third one. I rolled a 3, so this is going to target Ogriel. This is a tentacle strike. That's a 19 on the die.
Yowzers.
Which, against Ogriel's armor class, is a critical hit. That is versus Ogriel's armor class of 18. That 30 critically hits. Ogriel cries out in pain as he takes 14 points of bludgeoning damage, and he starts scratching frantically at his arm where he is hit, and makes a fortitude save. He manages to scratch enough that it seems like he's withstood whatever the effect is of this strike, and he says,
"Oh, that thing burns!"
One more tendril strike coming out from this fungus, whipping out towards Ogriel one more time. 19 to hit, strikes Ogriel once more, dealing a total of 5 points of damage. I rolled a 1 on my damage roll to Ogriel as Ogriel continues to take the punishment and again starts scratching frantically on his arm. Mag, you're standing right next to Ogriel. You see on his arm, his skin is starting to turn violet and like it's curing and rotting in a sort of grotesque way. Ogriel looks as though all of the energy in his body is being pulled towards his arm as he gets weaker in front of you, and he starts sort of whimpering from the pain of this rash that has broken out on his arm.
Oh.
Third and final tentacle strike from this fungus is towards Mag. It's an 11 to hit.
That's not going to do it.
So Mag manages to get her armor in front of this tentacle and block it, and it is now her turn.
What I'd like to do is run into the room along the same path as Trill, and upon reaching Trill, nudge her firmly, gently, but firmly, through the door that she hesitated to cross herself and out of the monster's reach. Oh. Having just seen the thing like whip 3 tentacles at her and somehow miss,
Whoa.
Mag would like to put herself in position to be its target.
Great. So Trill's gonna vom now. Thanks.
Well, you know,
I am fine with Mag trying to do something that she thinks is helpful to Trill.
I mean, look, you know, there's getting attacked by mushrooms or there's barfing over in the vomitorium. So, we're in a kind of like Scylla and Charybdis frying pan fire type situation.
I think Mag should try it and see how Trill responds.
If Trill would dig in, maybe we're going to have to do athletics checks against each other and we'll just see who wins. All right, so Mag will step forward out of the hallway, and when she meets Trill, she tries to plant her near foot and sort of give Trill a little hip check, a little scoocha.
So I'm going to say that the movement is an action. The scoocha, along with following her, is a second action.
All right. So what happens? Does she scoocha or?
Yeah, I'll say that. Give me a flat check in lieu of an athletics check.
Sure.
We'll say this is a DC 4.
And that's a 10.
Trill gets knocked into that next room, and Robin, as soon as Trill enters that room, she feels as though she's going to be sick.
Yeah, Trill kind of looks up at Mag with this look on her face of. She looks up at Mag and says, "Mag, why?" And Mag kind of sees Trill's face go kind of white as the smell overwhelms her, and she's like, "Oh God, this is awful."
And in response, out of loving kindness and care for her friend, she punches the mushroom that's nearby.
David, I'll say you've been wary of stuff. I'll say that you have your sword out.
Oh,
and you said you drew your sword last episode.
I did. Yeah. Would she punch it anyway? No. Okay, I'll hit. Mag will hit. So out of concern for Trill, Mag will attack the mushroom nearby with a two-handed sword strike.
Oh, Mag, that's so sweet. Oh.
And that is a 28 to hit.
That is a critical hit as Mag feels her sword dig into a weak part of this fungus's composition.
Mag turns back to Trill and says, "I'm very sorry. That was inconsiderate of me." As the sword does, let's see, just totting up a little quick math, 44 damage.
Oh!
Dang. So you hear a sickening squishing sound as slime pours out of this wound that you've cut in the mushroom, and it just slides down and falls to the ground, leaving some of the tendrils going dead, but the rest waving even more frantically in your face.
Ew.
I think mushrooms are gross, is what I'm trying to tell you.
Interesting.
Is it alive or is it dead? I can't tell.
It seems
Lars.
like it's not dead.
It's alive. You just cut a big chunk out of it.
Okay. All right.
Weird.
Vadim is penned back in this hallway, but he's the only one in his square. So if he wanted to start doing ranged attacks, I guess that's something he could do.
Well, as it turns out, what Vadim wants to do is go Ginsu on these fools. And so he is going to stride up to the Morel that Mag just attacked. Then he is going to do the thing he does, which is, of course, the double slice.
So Vadim is between both of these mushrooms right now. So these tendrils are flying hot and heavy. You smell the sort of, you know how like every mushroom smells fucking awful? That is just filling your sinuses are just filled with that sort of like musty, dead smell that mushrooms have. It's gross, is what I'm trying to tell you.
So I think what he does is at the end of his stride, he drops into a slide into one knee and then whips his blades around, spinning on his knees, trying to make this double slice happen. So there's, for vigilance, is a 21, and his dagger is a 27.
Vigilance slices in, hit, and that opens up a weak spot that you are able to plunge your dagger into for a critical hit.
Hell yeah. Vigilance does 7 damage, and the dagger in the crit does 24 for a total of 31 damage.
I bet that won't do it.
And with that, Vadim feels his dagger go through the mushroom, just keeps going, just like all the way to the ground, and you feel like tink, as your dagger hits the stone that this fungus is resting on. And with that, the fungus splits apart and wilts like that corpse flower that Walter Matthau was growing in the Dennis the Menace movie. Is that a reference anybody cares about?
One of the longest and most lasting of references.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank God you finally brought it back.
Yeah, so that the fungus on the western part of the room, cut down by Vadim, is done. And that was cool.
What does it feel like to get a hero point at a moment where you can actually use it as opposed to a throwaway right before we...
I'm
Is
not
it
gonna lie.
nice? Does it feel good?
It feels
Yeah?
kind of good. I'm into it.
Cool. I would imagine it would feel really good, but I don't actually know. All right. So Norman does just the most obvious of distractions here. He's not hidden to the remaining fungus on account of his incredible stealth but terrible roll. And so he just looks over and he goes, "Hey, what happened to your friend?" in an effort to try and distract the remaining fungus.
So as you utter these words to the fungus, you get the impression that this fungus has no mind and is not distracted by your words.
Even if I roll pretty well because of all that deception I've got, even that 19 I just rolled it doesn't matter.
The fungus is immune to mental effects.
Interesting. So it's sort of like that hero point card I got last time, and it's all just irrelevant.
Not useful.
I mean, one could have guessed that trying to distract a plant wasn't going to get you much of anywhere, but yeah, it's like the hero point card. Yes.
All right, perfect. So having wasted one turn, Norman does what I think we can all agree is the obvious thing and hurls a remaining tentacle from this thing's friend at itself.
Nice.
Yeah.
Surprised it took this long.
How does Vadim feel about hurling mushroom tentacles?
Totally fine.
It's totally fine.
Totally fine.
Non-issue.
Non-issue for him.
Great.
I was a 24.
That hits. This tentacle squishes in and starts doing bludgeoning damage.
And that's 12 points of bludgeoning damage.
This fungus, slightly battered by its friend. Do funguses have friends? I say no, they don't.
Frenemy?
I mean, really, they're actually more like conjoined twins, because all mushrooms essentially come from are all interconnected through the same network.
Did I just throw the thing at itself again?
You really kind of did.
Yeah.
This is 2 fights in a row where I've thrown the thing at itself.
I mean, fungus is essentially, like, mushrooms are essentially just the largest living being on Earth, because they're just all interconnected.
That doesn't disturb you, mushroom lovers? You're not like, that's heinous?
It's fascinating.
It's cool.
I love foraging wild mushrooms. I love cultivating mushrooms. I got like a mushroom log for Christmas. Give me all the mushrooms. I love that weird mushroom documentary, Fantastic Fungi.
No.
All the mushrooms
like
all the time.
What I thought was like an 8 out of 10 on the it's cool spectrum, but Robin is at like a 97.
Mushrooms are my thing.
I'm going to reveal something about myself, how paranoid I am and how much I dislike mushrooms. Do you think it's possible, like, do you have any idea in your mind, Robin, that the fact that you enjoy eating mushrooms has potentially infected your brain with spores that make you more susceptible to advancing their cause?
No,
you don't think so?
No, that's not how it works.
I love this conspiracy theory.
Because I feel sometimes like the fact that I don't eat mushrooms makes me the only sane person in the world.
It's not how spores work, no, Lars.
One of us.
But you would say that because you're infected with the spores, is what I'm trying to say.
Right, that's exactly what a spore-infected person would say.
Yeah.
So I'm just like a kobold. Oh my gosh, I'm just like a kobold with one of those.
Exactly, with
one of those
Incutulus.
Incutulus on my head. Maybe. But you know what? My life is better for it, Lars.
I think I follow the logic of what you're saying.
Uh-huh.
Do you feel that the same logic applies to strawberries?
No, because strawberries don't have this.
When you eat a strawberry, you're infected by the seeds.
But strawberries aren't all one organism. Strawberries are individual. Strawberries is more like eating like a person, which I'm far more comfortable with.
Than joining the hive mind.
You're an Army Hammer.
Yes. Yes, me and Army Hammer and every villain on the 3rd floor of the Abomination Vaults.
Yeah. But you know what? If it's wrong, I don't want to be right.
Well, I don't think you are, is what I'm trying to say. So Ogriel has been cut very, very badly. He's covered with this
Augie.
rash on his arm, and he stumbles forward into the room, pushing past Norman, and opens his mouth to try to rip a chunk off of this violet fungus. He rolls an 18 on his attack, which would hit, but the light gets in his eyes. Flat check is fine. So he reaches out and manages to snap on, grab a hold of one of these tendrils and rip it off, doing 11 points of damage as he does so. I'm not going to make the fungus roll for ghoul fever, but I will make the fungus roll for being paralyzed. Critical success, 20 on the die for that fortitude save against being paralyzed.
Boo.
Ogriel spits this fungal tendril out.
Oh! I can confirm it does not seem like it would make it any better. Oh, it's disgusting.
And then he lunges forward and swings his claw forward to try to cut at the base of the fungus. That is a 20 to hit. Let's see if the lights get in his eyes this time. They don't. So that is going to be another bit of damage from Ogriel. 10 more points of damage as Ogriel slices another chunk out of this mushroom. And the fungus makes another fortitude save. This time failing. The sound of all of these tendrils whipping around, beating into the walls around you, slapping the floor between your feet, stops as suddenly the mushroom is just frozen perfectly in place, having been paralyzed by Ogriel.
Okay.
Nice.
At the end of Ogriel's turn, he is going to have to make a fortitude save against this ongoing infection of violet rot. He rolls a 1 on the die, critically failing, meaning that he is going to advance directly to stage 3 violet rot.
Oh.
Ogriel takes 2d6 poison damage, which of course he's immune to. So,
nice.
So irrelevant.
Who cares?
Undeath has its benefits.
Like hero point cards and distractions.
Oh my God.
Tears in the rain.
Okay. And he's drained. Who cares? It doesn't matter. Nothing matters anymore. Here we go. Top of round 2. Trill is in the room with this decaying, gibbering mouther. Mag inside the room with the funguses, a short distance away. Vadim and Ogriel are surrounding this beaten up, cut apart fungus in the southeast corner of the room, with Norman waiting in the hallway, a short distance away from that. Trill, at the beginning of her turn, needs to make a fortitude save.
I do?
As the smell of this decaying, gibbering mouther threatens to overwhelm her.
Ugh. Gross. And that's a 22.
You manage to shove all of the feelings and thoughts of this horrific creature aside, and you are fine.
Hey, see? No worries.
So, okay. Trill's going to move so that Trill's not in the disgusting room anymore. And Trill's going to instead stand on the dead carcass. Trill's going to go ahead and TKP then.
Better than TPKing, am I right?
Bum.
Hey-o!
Hey-o! Who's having fun?
So Trill's going to go ahead. So after she moved with her last two actions, she's going to go ahead and TPK that nasty old fungus.
Oh.
Well,
sorry guys.
It's all over.
Game
No,
over.
TPK.
Yeah.
Wait, TKP. Whoops, I mixed it up.
Wasn't your
No,
fault.
TKP.
It was in the air.
Yeah.
And that's an attack of 24.
That hits.
And that's 9 damage.
Another big hit against this fungus, which is looking pretty badly injured. We have a situation where any one of the 5 of you are a potential target because all of you are within reach of these tentacles. So what that means is that I'm going to roll a d5 for this fungus to see who it is that it is going to attack. A d5, you say? That's not real. And I say, don't test me. Okay, a 1 on the die is going to be Vadim. So the Vadim sees a tendril fly out towards him. Here comes that tendril strike. That's a pretty good roll, a 22.
That will hit, and will just hit.
Vadim gets slammed in his armor for 7 points of bludgeoning damage. And the next tendril flies out towards Norman, reaching past Augriel. 10 to hit.
That hits. No, it doesn't. I'm kidding. That doesn't hit.
And the last of these tendrils is flying towards Mag. That is a 10 to hit. More just wildly flying tendrils, just filling the room, smacking into everything. The sound of wet squishing hitting the stone around you.
I feel like the umami in this room is becoming unbearable, you know?
David, you're up. It is Mag's turn as this last tendril swipe goes over your head.
Does Vadim need to make a fortitude save?
Yes. Thank you so much, Armet, for being honest and for helping me be a good game master.
No
Give me
problem.
that fortitude save.
Why don't you take a couple of hero points with plenty of time to use them?
There you go. Just give them out to everyone.
As it turns out, with that 3 on the die, I am going to use a hero point.
Ooh.
Oh.
Here we go. Let's try that again. And I get another 3 on the die. Amazing.
So
12.
Vadim feels a rash break out all over his body as he starts having the poisonous spores infect his body. That is going to be 1 point of poison damage.
Oh, good. That's itchy.
It is itchy because you feel all of the energy, like your entire immune system starts centralizing on this wound that you've taken.
Ugh.
So the strength is getting sapped out of your body and you are now enfeebled 1.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes.
What a terrible hero point.
One of the worst that I've seen.
Turns out that one was useless too. So that's just the kind Lars gives out.
Yeah, I'm incredibly cruel. Mag, it's Mag's turn.
That's Lars, as we call him, Lars the Cruel.
That is why I have always wondered.
That's
Yes,
why.
okay.
It's because of giving hero points
Yeah.
at slightly
It's all the giving you
inopportune
do.
time. David, it's your turn. It's Mag's turn. What's Mag gonna do?
Rage!
Oh,
Didn't see that coming.
Against the morale.
Mag rages and then steps forward to the one remaining open spot and then will give another two-handed strike with Haplo. And that is a 20 on the die.
no shit. Okay, here we go.
You gotta draw.
Nice.
Nice.
Very good.
Nice.
The critical hit that Mag just drew is called Lean into the Blow. And David, I want you to narrate exactly what this looks like. Slashing crit, triple damage, and you drop your weapon.
Oh.
All right, so Mag steps forward with her feet first, leaving the sword almost casually dragging behind her until she's in place, and then she brings it over her head in a enormous 12 to 6 windmill. slicing through the mushroom from the tippy top of its not head, because they don't have those, to the bippy bottom of its not feet, because I guess they have stems instead. And she slices through the thing so hard that the sword bounces off the floor and ricochets over Augriel and Norman's heads back into the narrow hallway, clanging and clattering and caterwauling as it goes.
And I'm imagining sparks are sort of being drawn across the wall also as this is happening.
Yeah. And a choir starts to sing.
Oh.
Well, let's see if you can beat 18 hit points with your triple damage. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, let's see. 57 damage.
Oh, okay.
That'll do it. I think that'll
that'll do it.
57. Jesus.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Can someone get out there TI-83? There's only one way to get to the bottom of this.
I have a little bone to pick with the crit card deck.
I didn't know you had problems with crit cards,
Now,
David.
hang on, everyone. This is an instance where the thing could absolutely have re-nerfed my damage back to single, and I still would have killed the thing. But no, this time it triples it.
I thought you were going to be pissed that made you drop your instrument, which kind of sucks. Like, if we weren't killing the last thing of this, it's pretty annoying to have.
No, I was able to play that for laughs, but yes, that would have been.
I mean, David, if you had just rolled all ones, it wouldn't have done very much.
It would have been nasty because Mag is raging. Mag has like a flat 6 points of damage that just happens just automatically.
So if David had actually just rolled all ones, so what's the minimum amount of damage
18,
that Mag
which
could
would have killed
there?
it?
It's not 18. It's 24. It's 8 times 3 because 1 and 1 and then.
So for all you
6.
lovers of 8 out there, we've now got some troughs for you as well.
Yeah, we've gone way outside all the prime numbers we were using before, but yeah, we're still doing math. Yeah, that's right. Minimum damage
nasty.
is 24. Yeah. Anywho, that's dead.
Yeah, you're in this suddenly silent room, this chamber that seems to with a mound of soil now holding these 2 former violet funguses here in the back corner of the ghoul territory.
And Mag goes, whoops, sorry. And she pushes past Augriel and Norman to go retrieve her blade.
Nice strike, Meg. That was a heck of a wind-up.
Said the guy who got down on his knees. I mean, everyone rocked that fight. High fives all around.
I feel like there's a round of really awesome high fives.
Under the leg, behind the head.
And then Trill's really low down, just still feeling kind of sick to her stomach from that round of being in the room with the rotting corpse.
Low five. Oh.
Mag picks up a severed tentacle and offers it to Norman for a high five.
Well, be careful. This thing is really itchy. And Vadim is like scratching it.
Yeah.
How's
let's resolve
Augie?
that.
How's poor Augie?
Augriel spends the next few seconds just sort of shivering and looking uncomfortable, not seeming to be taking any extra damage or anything like that from this poison. But let's just get a couple of fortitude saves from Vadim to get a sense of exactly what we're looking at for extra damage from him to him.
23.
Okay. So a few moments after this fungus falls to the ground, the rash on Vadim's arm fades, and he's all better.
Cool. Oh, that was pretty gross.
I agree with you. I don't like it.
It's just a little fan service for you there, Lars. You know?
Thank you so much. 5 hero points.
Yes, it's working.
Pandering.
Just knowing my audience.
I don't know who's pandering to who, but I don't like it.
Here, Augie, come on, let's get out of here. This place reeks. Norman wants to drag him up to the blue light, which I feel like will help heal him.
He happily grabs Norman's hand, totally in sync with what Norman is thinking, and says,
"Yes, let's go to the light together. What a good idea."
To the light? Yeah.
Trill looks over to Vadim and says,
Augie seemed a little bit more excited that time than previous times, didn't he?
Yes, that was a little worrisome.
We should follow closely.
I agree. Let's make sure nothing untoward happens.
And as he walks, he's also going to lay on hands on himself and invoke Pharasma's blessing to heal.
Trill follows closely behind Norman and Augie.
Mag wants to take one quick look around the corner to see if there's anything interesting in that hallway, which was another one of these narrow dead ends against what felt like, I don't know, a round elevator shaft, cylindrical thing. Like anything there?
Yeah, give me a
perception.
Give me a perception or a crafting, whichever one you want to do.
Yeah, I will do crafting.
I think that seeing this from both sides, Mag becomes very confident of what it is that is on the upper part of this elevator. On the second floor, there was the large room with the decaying purple worm where you found your warhammer.
Right.
A short distance away from that, there was a secret door that opened up into a room with the symbol, a small circular room with the symbol of Nimbleoth. You're confident getting a look at both sides of this elevator, of this lift, that when you were in that room, you are standing on the top of the lift that you are now seeing the side of.
Okay. Mag will follow the rest of the group.
So back in the room with the blue light, Augriel quickly dashes forward into the negative energy and starts doing something that you have seen him do before, which is writhe around in near ecstasy as he is healed by its negative energy.
Oh, yes, this thing is amazing.
There is something very wrong about that.
It is amazing, Norman says next to it, like kind of running his hand, not quite touching it, but like and the tips of his fingers start to grow a little hairy. That light. How does it feel, Augie? How does it feel?
It feels like death itself pouring over me.
Ugh.
It rules.
Ugh, what a perversion.
Do you think?
Trill's getting very nervous. She kind of steps up on the couch to try and whisper to Vadim and kind of pulls Mag over because she knows Norman's not going to be interested in trying to get the two of her, and just kind of says quietly, hoping Augie doesn't hear,
"Do you think the more we encourage him to go in the light, the more he becomes a full-blown ghoul?"
I don't know. I certainly hope not.
It hadn't crossed my mind, but I suppose maybe we should try and keep him out. And Mag will, I guess, with that, she'll draw her warhammer and kind of flip it around so she's holding the head and just using the long handle as a kind of spacer, and she just gives a very gentle tap on Augriel's shoulder with the kind of almost like a broom handle or something, just to try to get his attention as he does his ecstatic undead boogie.
Oh, I'm sorry. Am I taking too long? You can go next. I'm sorry.
Yeah, come on. Come on back to the couches.
Yeah, step on out if you're feeling all ship shape.
He steps out of this blue negative energy and shakes his arms out, reaching them into the air, like cracking them back and letting them rest limply at his sides. And he stumbles forward and sits down on the couch that you're signaling to him.
So just kind of analyzing what's happening here. Can I do that for a moment? Do you guys mind?
Yeah. Go for it.
Please.
I'm looking at this and feeling like, because this blue light is all part of kind of Belcora's Nimbleoth worship. And it is deeply evil. It is all connected to overcoming death and dying and the undead. And I feel like taking part in this blue light, something's happening to Agriel that connects him to the evil of Nimbleoth and Belcora that brings him over to becoming that part of being a ghoul, of that undead, of wanting to eat the living and all of the terrible things that are what it is to be a ghoul that have not been part of who Agriel is so far.
So
is that crazy?
No. I mean, I want to make sure I'm following. So
So I feel like the light is perverting and corrupting Agriel.
Also, Nimbleoth is a consumer of predators of dead souls. So like him being a predator of the undead is also sort of like a weird connection to Nimbleoth too, in a way, which I hadn't put together.
Explain that once more.
Like when we were talking about in the Chapel of Nimbleoth on, I think, the first floor, one of the things we learned was that Nimbleoth is a predator of the creatures in the boneyard that prey on petitioners or the souls of the dead. And so it's like a super predator, basically. And so Augie, in a funny way, is also like kind of connected with Nimbleoth in that way, too.
Because Augie preys upon the undead.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know. I think you're onto something is, I guess, what I'm...
Definitely something wrong about that light. I think it's a good idea to keep Augie away from.
He said to take turns, says Norman, and he starts to like lean into the light.
And Mag moves the Warhammer handle around to where it's hanging just between Norman's paws and the blue light, and gives the nearest paw to herself just a light tap. I'm not sure we should be getting quite so close.
And Norman sort of like shakes his head, which like has gotten a little bit snoutish and elongated. Yeah. That's right.
Only if you're certain that it's safe, Norman.
Oh, I'm not certain of that at all, but I'm not sure it's gonna stop me. Well, anyways, what's next?
Are there any? Mag is trying to think quickly to build momentum away from this fixated reaction on the blue light that Norman is having once again. Are there any other of these doors up here that we haven't looked in? I recall you could read all of the signs, no?
There's a couple back where that green light was. If you can promise me not to follow the light, am I right? And he kind of is like making a, we each have our own light we follow joke. So funny. What's funnier than that? But there was a door back there, and then maybe we go up to the north wing.
Yes, sounds good to me. And Vadim is trying to also sort of hustle Norman away with Mag. The further away from this thing, the better.
Oh, are we leaving already? Okay, let's go.
It'll be here. It'll always be here.
So you guys are leaving this area. Where are you heading towards?
What Norman was talking about is the green light I think there was a door across the hallway from that. That's one of the few things we haven't explored aside from this hallway.
Yeah, so you retrace your footsteps back through this hallway, back past these 2 staircases that you know lead upstairs. So the 4 of you and Augriel walk down this hallway that leads back to where you first met Augriel in that reading room. And you see this unopened door in front of you.
Mag will scout and happily take up position to open it.
Vadim will draw his blades.
Norman's looking for traps.
You push this door open, and you see in this room an ancient sofa with its covering torn open and its stuffing and springs revealed, sitting against the west wall of this room.
Weirdly, all I can imagine is Trill just thinking,
Ooh, I just want to go lay down on the couch. Nap time.
I was just thinking about the idea of an ancient sofa. I think of sofas as relatively...
the beauty of Pathfinder.
It truly is a fantastical world that we are adventuring through.
My God, what will they think of next?
As you look into this small room, Trill gets the sense that there may be a secret door on the southwestern wall of it.
God damn, that girl, huh? She can find a secret door in a man cave.
It's like I've got little antennae in my buns.
Yeah, there's just like a crease in the stone that jumps out at you. It feels like this is something that should be movable.
There's a crease in the stone that stands out to me. I feel like it should be movable.
Go on.
Trill goes over to the southwest corner and kind of starts running her hands along the wall and fidgeting a little bit and pushing here and there to see what on earth is going on, because something just looks odd. What happens, Lars?
Yeah, you're looking at this crease, and it's sort of getting tough for Trill to pay attention to that, to the secret door, because she sort of has the feeling as she's investigating this seam, like she's being watched. It's an unpleasant sort of paranoid feeling.
I don't like that feeling.
And Mag also, as she's contemplating this sofa, Mag also kind of gets this creeping sensation that somebody is watching her.
Trill, is there anything magical in here?
I hadn't thought to check.
Trill does detect magic.
So Trill starts casting detect magic with her lute.
Plays those couple chords that gets the rhythm going to connect her with the magic.
And before she can get the spell out, this wave of paranoia washing over all of you just becomes intolerable. It's not just Trill that has this feeling. Each of you start feeling just like this insane, intolerable paranoia, and I need each of you to give me a will save. Here's what I need to know. Did you beat a 25?
Oof.
Wow.
No. I was very proud of my 20. I thought that was going to be fine.
Same. I had a 21 and was all chuffed over here.
Is this Price is Right style, where if you're the closest without going over, you're...
Vadim did get a 25.
And Augriel somehow also got a 25. So, what this means is that Vadim and Augriel both become frightened one as this paranoia grabs a hold of both of them. Both Vadim and Augriel feel as though something is watching them. You're just convinced that something is looking at you.
I always feel like somebody's watching me, and I have no privacy.
Rockwell? No one?
Rockwell? Anybody? Rockwell?
Rockwell?
Trill, Mag, and Norman, failing this will save,
are dead.
Become much more affected. The three of you are frightened too, and as you look around the room, you realize that none of the people here are your friends. They're not your enemies necessarily, but they are not your allies. You don't trust them.
Word.
We're all confused.
It's not confused. You just don't have any allies. At this moment, in the center of the western wall of this room, you see the stone start to crinkle somewhat.
Oh.
And suddenly, an eerie red eye opens in the wall and stares right in your face. And I need you to roll for initiative.
What?
Cool.
Roll for initiative.
Roll for initiative.
This eye just starts staring through you. You can't stop looking at it. Robin, what did you roll for initiative?
I rolled only a 14 for Trill. Not great.
Okay. David, how about for Mag?
Mag, completely overwhelmed, thunderstruck, spellbound by this. 1 on the die for a 7.
Okay. Zoe, how about for Norman?
I think Norman is feeling ready to attack anyone and everyone around him, so 23.
And Armat?
Vadim, much like Mag, kind of frightened, uneasy, off his game, rolled a 3 for a 10 on his initiative.
Here's the situation at the beginning of round 1. Norman is lingering in the hallway outside, just out of the door, able to see this red eye staring at him. The 4 of you, who are not Norman though, which is to say Augriel, Trill, Vadim, and Mag, are clustered in this room, fear striking your heart as this eye just stares and stares and stares at you. Before we get into initiative, this is a hazard. Typically, hazards like this one, you can disable it using the disable device action, which is a 2-action activity using some sort of skill check to accomplish some sort of end. Typically, for this kind of strange, mysterious hazard like this one, you kind of have 2 approaches you can take. You can guess what it is that you want to do, or you can try to recall knowledge about what it is that you're looking at to see if you can come up with a plan to overcome it and disable it. It is Norman's turn.
So Norman's sort of casting about, right? He has no idea, or his friends are unknown to him. He's freaked out. He's just like, what is going on? So he does a recall knowledge to try and figure out what this eye thing is.
For this sort of strange, mysterious thing, probably either religion or occultism would be your so-called huckleberry.
Occultism it is.
Okay, so Norman, looking at this strange wall, gets the sense that if he were to break line of sight with this eye, it would stop affecting him. So Norman could potentially step around the corner to just not be seen by this thing anymore, and Norman gets the sense that that would provide some relief to him. He also gets the sense, based on his background and who he is, that he could potentially roll a deception check to try to appear uninteresting to this eye and thus be ignored by it. There may be other ways to deal with this situation, but those are the ones that Norman is aware of.
Okay. Norman reaches in his back pocket, pulls out a red bandana, and ties it like a Wild West robber around his face. Runs his hand through his hair. Figures he's hiding from this thing. For an 11.
The rest of you see this eye gaze even more intently upon Norman, intrigued by this eye wrapping that Norman has put on.
Apparently a red bandana won't do it.
Not with an 11.
Not with an 11.
It is now Trill's turn. Trill is frightened and convinced that her allies are not her allies. What will she do? As she gazes up into this strange eye in the wall.
So Trill didn't get any of that information from Norman.
Norman doesn't believe that you are his allies, so he would not have shared that information. Potentially Augriel or Vadim could share information, though.
So Trill is going to go to her, good old this is what I do, and do an occultism check. Because that sounds like that's an option, right?
Yes.
And I need to do this one blind?
Yes, please.
Oh, and because I'm frightened, everything's nerfed.
Trill looks this eye straight in the eye and squints and tries so hard to pull some information together about this thing and comes up with nothing. She's never seen anything like this before.
And it's the usual 3 actions, right?
Correct.
So with Trill's other 2 actions, Trill's going to back up. And Trill's going to move into the hall. Because Trill sees and hope that she doesn't upset anything because she's just terrified and she doesn't trust anyone who she's around right now.
Yeah, so Trill runs into the hallway and feels immediately a wave of relief.
Oh.
Just not being looked at by that eye is enough for her to feel soothed for a brief moment.
Oh, that's better.
And it's at this moment that Augriel, Vadim, Mag, and Norman look at this eye and it starts darting around, focusing on each of you, and just the feeling that you're being watched just starts sending ripples of pain through your body. And I need each of you to make a will save. But hold on to that for a second because we'll pick it up from there next time.
Oh, this is nightmare fuel, Lars.
The Roots of Ruin is a Tabletop Gold production produced under the Paizo Incorporated Community Use Policy. The Roots of Ruin uses trademarks and/or copyrights owned by Paizo Inc., used under Paizo's Community Use Policy. We are expressly prohibited from charging you to use or access this content. Paizo does not recognize, endorse, or sponsor this project in any way. Original characters and content are the property of Tabletop Gold. For more information about Paizo Inc. and Paizo products, visit paizo.com. We at Tabletop Gold would love to hear from you. Email us at letters@tabletopgold.com and find all our social links at tabletopgold.com.